There is a brown bottle sitting in your medicine cabinet right now that you have probably walked past 100 times without giving it a second thought. You grab it when somebody skins a knee, maybe when you need to clean out a cut, and then it goes right back on the shelf to sit there quietly until somebody skins another knee. And all the while, you are spending good money on cleaners and sprays and products that do half the job that little bottle would do for a fraction of what you paid. I want to show you what that bottle can really do. My name is Ruth Yoder. I was raised plain in a community where you do not spend money on a thing you already have, and you do not throw away a thing until you have wrung every last bit of use out of it. My grandmother kept house for 11 children on what most people today would consider nothing at all, and her kitchen was the cleanest room I have ever stood in. She did not have a cleaning aisle. She did not have a different spray for every surface. She had a few plain things, a great deal of knowing, and absolutely zero patience for waste. She would have had a few words to say about the way most of us treat hydrogen peroxide, and none of those words would have been polite ones. The science of the brown bottle. Before I show you a single thing, I want to make sure you understand what is actually inside that bottle, because once you see the sense of it, everything else I am about to tell you will click into place the way a good latch settles home. Hydrogen peroxide is water with one extra oxygen atom hitched onto it. That is the whole secret of it. The chemical name is H2O2, where plain water is H2O. Just one more oxygen, and that one extra atom is the whole difference between water that sits still and water that fizzes, bubbles, and goes to work on everything it touches. When peroxide meets bacteria, mold, organic matter, or certain minerals, that extra oxygen atom breaks free. That is the fizzing you see. That bubbling is not drama. It is the oxygen releasing, and in the releasing, it tears apart the cell walls of bacteria, breaks down the proteins that hold mold together, and lifts the organic grime that sits bonded to your surfaces. It does this without leaving a chemical residue behind, without filling your home with fumes, and without costing you more than about $1 a bottle at any pharmacy in the country. Now, here's the thing about the brown bottle, because people ask me this and I want to answer it straight. The brown bottle is not a marketing trick. It is not there to make the peroxide look like medicine, though I understand why you might think so. Light breaks peroxide down, sunlight especially, but regular indoor light will do it over time too. The brown plastic blocks the light and keeps the peroxide stable on your shelf. If you ever pour it into a clear spray bottle to use it, which I will be telling you to do shortly, just know that it will start losing its strength after a few weeks sitting in that clear bottle on a sunny windowsill. Keep it in the dark when you are not using it. Keep it cool. Treat it like it has something worth protecting inside, because it does. The standard bottle you buy at the pharmacy is 3% hydrogen peroxide. That means 97 parts water and 3 parts the working part. That is the one for everything I am about to show you. There are stronger concentrations sold for other purposes, and I will say plainly right now, those are not what we are talking about, not what you need, and not what you should be splashing around your kitchen without knowing exactly what you are doing. The 3% bottle. That is our subject. That is all we need. The toilet ring. Nobody can kill now. The toilet ring. If you have hard water coming into your home, and a good number of houses do, you know exactly the ring I mean. That brownish-reddish, sometimes grayish stripe that circles the inside of the bowl right at the water line. You scrub it, and it fades, and you feel accomplished. 2 days later, it is back, sitting there patient as ever, like it owns the place, and you are just visiting. The reason your scrubbing does not hold is the same reason my grandmother understood without ever reading a word of chemistry in her life. That ring is not dirt. You cannot wash away something that is not sitting on top of the surface. What that ring is minerals, iron and calcium and lime pulled out of your hard water and deposited onto the porcelain every single time the water moves through. The porcelain is porous enough that those minerals find their way into the surface itself, not just onto it. So when you scrub with your brush and your blue cleaner, you are cleaning the very top layer and leaving the rest sitting where it was, waiting to show itself again the moment the cleaning product dries. Bleach has the same problem. Bleach is very good at killing things and at whitening surfaces where it can sit and soak. But on a mineral stain, bleach does not have anything to kill. The ring is not alive, and bleach cannot dissolve minerals the way an acid can. So the bleach cleans around the stain, and the stain remains, and you buy more bleach, and the company that makes the bleach does very well for itself. Here is what my mother did, and what her mother did before her, and what I do today. You take a quarter cup of baking soda, and you add just enough 3% peroxide to make it into a paste. Not runny, not crumbly, somewhere in between, the kind of paste that will stay where you put it and not slide straight off into the water. If you have ever mixed cornstarch with water and watched it behave strangely, this is nothing like that. This is much simpler. Just stir them together until it holds. Turn off the water supply to the toilet. You will find a small valve on the wall right behind the base of it, or sometimes underneath. Turn it clockwise until it stops. Flush the toilet to empty the bowl down as far as it will go. Now you can actually get to the ring without fighting the water. Spread your paste directly onto the stain and all along the ring, pressing it right into the surface with an old brush or even your glove fingers. Let it sit. This is the part most people rush and then wonder why it did not work. You want at least 20 minutes. Half an hour is better. Overnight if the stain is old and stubborn and has been there since before you moved in. The peroxide is working its way into those pores in the porcelain. The baking soda is giving it something to hold onto and adding a gentle abrasive for when you come back with the brush. When your time is up, scrub the area in small circles, turn the water back on flush, and look at your bowl. I will not promise you a miracle on a stain that has been building since 1980, but I will tell you that this works on mineral rings in a way that bleach and store cleaners simply do not, because it is reaching the problem instead of cleaning the surface above it. And on fresh buildup, caught early and treated regularly, it is the thing that keeps the ring from ever coming back in the first place. The cutting board secret. Now let us talk about the cutting board, because this one matters for reasons beyond the surface being clean. Most people wash their cutting boards with dish soap and hot water and consider the job done, and for a great many things that is fine. But if you have been cutting raw chicken on that board, or raw meat of any kind, the honest truth is that soap and water do a more limited job than we like to think. Not because the soap is bad, because of the wood. A wooden cutting board has grain in it, little channels running all through it, tiny as they are, and those channels are exactly the places bacteria settle into after you have been working raw meat across the surface. The soap cleans what it touches, but the soap does not go very deep into the grain, and so you rinse the board. It looks clean, it smells clean, you set it in the drying rack feeling righteous, and the bacteria that went down into the grain are sitting there quietly, completely untroubled by the soap that passed over them. My grandmother did not know the word bacteria, but she knew that a board used for meat needed more than a washing, and she knew it in the particular way that women who have kept house for large families across many years come to know things, which is to say, she learned it the hard way once and never forgot it. Here is what you do. After washing and rinsing the board the way you normally would, sprinkle a generous layer of coarse salt across the whole surface. Then pour 3% peroxide straight over the salt, enough to soak it and spread across the board. You will see it fizz up. Leave it there. Do not rinse it immediately. Let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes and let the peroxide work its way down into the grain while the salt is helping lift whatever the soap left behind. Then rinse with hot water and dry the board completely, standing it on its edge so air can get to both sides, because a board that dries flat traps moisture underneath, and that is its own problem. Do this after every time raw meat has been on that board, and you are cleaning the board in a way that is actually reaching what needs to be reached. This is not complicated. It is a 2-minute habit that costs almost nothing and does what the soap cannot. And if your board has picked up a smell, that particular sour, faintly off smell that old cutting boards sometimes carry, and that no amount of washing seems to fix, this treatment will take care of that too. The same fizzing action that goes after the bacteria breaks down the organic matter that is causing the odor. 2 problems, 1 bottle, 1 salt shaker. The sour dish towel fix. Speaking of smells that will not leave, let us talk about dish towels. You know the smell. You wash the towels, you dry the towels, you fold them and put them back, and within a day of use they have got that smell again. That damp, sour, faintly unpleasant smell that makes you hold the towel out at arm's length and wonder whether wiping your hands on it is actually making your hands better or worse. That smell is bacteria living in the fibers of the towel, not just on the surface, but woven through the fabric itself, in every thread, and hot water and laundry soap do not get all of them. The ones that survive go on living and reproducing in the damp, warm environment of a dish towel drying on an oven handle, and the smell is the evidence of them going about their business. Here is the fix, and it is almost embarrassingly simple. Fill your sink or a basin with warm water. Add 1 cup of 3% peroxide for a regular load of towels, or half a cup if you are just soaking 2 or 3. Submerge the towels fully and let them soak for 30 minutes. Then wring them out and wash them as you normally would in your machine with your regular soap. The peroxide gets into the fibers in a way that a regular wash cycle alone cannot manage. That extra oxygen tears apart the cell walls of the bacteria living in the fabric, the ones the laundry soap floats past without touching, and when those bacteria are gone, the smell they were making goes with them. I want to be honest with you here because honesty is the point. This works best on white and light colored towels because peroxide has a mild bleaching action, and on a dark towel, it may, over time, fade the color. On white cotton dish towels, which is what my grandmother kept and what I keep, it is not a concern at all. On your colorful flour sack towels, test a corner first, wait a day, and see how the color holds before you soak the whole stack. Do this once a month, not just when the smell arrives and your towels will not develop the smell in the first place. That is the difference between solving a problem and preventing one, and preventing one is always the better and cheaper of the two. Mold behind the washing machine. Now, I want to take you somewhere most people do not think to look, which is behind the washing machine. Pull yours away from the wall sometime, if you have not lately, and take a look at what is back there. I will wait. Actually, no, I will not wait, because I have a feeling a number of you already know what you would find and would rather not think about it. What is often back there is mold, sometimes a little, sometimes quite a lot, growing quietly on the wall and on the back of the machine itself, fed by the warmth and the humidity that a working washing machine puts into the air with every single load you run. The trouble with mold in that spot is the same trouble with mold anywhere on a porous surface. The wall behind your washing machine is almost certainly painted drywall. And drywall is porous in the way that wood and grout and unglazed tile are porous. When bleach hits mold on drywall, it kills the mold you can see on the very surface. But the roots of the mold, and yes, mold has roots called hyphae, go down into the material. Bleach cannot follow them there. It is too thin too fast, and the fumes drive you out of the room before it has done the deep work anyway. So you bleach the wall, the surface mold dies, you push the machine back, and within a few weeks the mold is back, because the roots were never touched. Peroxide, because of that fizzing action, works its way into porous surfaces in a way bleach does not. The bubbling carries the oxidizing action down into the material and reaches what is living beneath the surface. Here is how to use it. Move the machine out. Mix equal parts 3% peroxide and water in a spray bottle. Spray the affected area thoroughly, enough that it is genuinely wet, not just damp. Walk away. Come back in 15 minutes. You will see it has been fizzing against the wall the whole time you were gone, working into the mold in a way you cannot see, but can trust is happening. Wipe the area down with a rag, spray once more, and let it dry completely before pushing the machine back. Do this every few months as a prevention, and you will not find yourself dealing with the larger problem. And if you want to slow the moisture buildup back there, leave a few inches between the machine and the wall when you push it back. It costs you nothing and gives the air room to move. The vegetable wash. Now here is one that surprised even me when I first learned the reason behind it, which is the vegetable wash. You run your vegetables under the tap. You feel that you have cleaned them. And in a casual sense you have. You have removed the visible dirt, the mud, whatever was sitting loose on the surface. What you have not removed is what is bonded to the skin of the vegetable itself. Pesticide residue, if the produce was commercially grown, the natural waxes that are sometimes applied after harvest to make the produce look better and last longer on the shelf, bacteria from the hands that handled it between the field and your counter, and occasionally pathogens that a rinse of cold water simply floats past. I am not trying to alarm you. People have been rinsing vegetables under the tap for generations and survived just fine, myself included. But if you have a way to do better, for almost no cost and almost no extra effort, it seems a plain waste not to use it. Fill a large bowl or your clean sink with cold water. Add half a cup of 3% peroxide and stir it through. Put your vegetables in and let them soak for 5 to 10 minutes. Then rinse them well under plain cold water and dry them before storing. The peroxide breaks down pesticide residue on the surface. It kills the surface bacteria. It does nothing to the vegetable itself, which is what you want. You are not soaking the inside. You are cleaning the outside. Now I will give you the honest boundary here because I always do. This is a surface treatment. If a pesticide has been absorbed into the vegetable itself rather than sitting on the skin, peroxide cannot touch it because nothing you do from the outside will reach what is already inside. Peroxide cleans the surface. It does not work miracles beyond it. And if you are buying organic produce that was grown without synthetic pesticides, you are getting less benefit from this step, though the bacterial cleaning still holds. Leafy greens respond especially well to this. Lettuce, spinach, kale, the things with a lot of surface area and a lot of folds where bacteria like to sit. Soak them, rinse them, spin them dry, and they will keep longer in the icebox too because you have removed some of the bacteria that cause wilting. The Grout Rescue Now. Grout. If you have tile in your bathroom or your kitchen, you have grout, and if you have grout, there is a reasonable chance some portion of it has gone gray or black over the years, and you have tried various things on it, and some of them have helped a little, and none of them have fixed it for good, and you have quietly begun to resent the grout as a personal adversary. You are not wrong to resent it. Grout is porous. It absorbs moisture with every shower, every splash, every steam. It absorbs the soap residue that rides that moisture in. And in that warm, damp, soap-fed environment, mold and mildew settle in and go dark, and that darkness works its way down into the grout itself, the same way that toilet ring works its way into the porcelain. Cleaning the surface gets you a few days of looking better, and then the gray comes creeping back. Here is the paste method, and it is the same logic as the toilet ring treatment, because the problem is the same problem in a different room. Mix baking soda with 3% peroxide into a paste. Same consistency as before, thick enough to stay put on a vertical surface without sliding. Work it into the grout lines with an old toothbrush, pressing it in so it is actually inside the grout and not just sitting on top. Let it sit 20 minutes at minimum. Then come back with the toothbrush. Scrub in short strokes along the grout line, rinse with warm water, and look at your work. On mold and mildew staining, this is genuinely remarkable. The peroxide reaches into the pores, the baking soda gives you scrubbing power without scratching the tile, and the combination lifts the darkness in a way that a spray and wipe immediately treatment never does because it never had time to work. I will not promise you that grout that has been neglected for 15 years comes back to bright white in one treatment. It may take 2 or 3 sessions on the worst of it, but it will come back, and when it does, a monthly maintenance pass of straight peroxide sprayed on and left to sit will keep it there. The pillowcase problem. Let us talk about pillowcases because this one is a quiet embarrassment that most people have simply accepted as the natural state of things, and it is not. If your white pillowcases have gone yellow in the center where your head rests, you have probably scrubbed them, boiled them, and bought new ones, only to watch the new ones go the same way within a year. And somewhere along the way you concluded that this is simply what pillowcases do. They do not. You just have not been given the right tool for the job. The yellowing is body oils and sweat bonding into the cotton fibers over time. I want to be clear that this is not a cleanliness problem. The cleanest person alive sweats at night. I mentioned this once at a quilting circle, and one woman did not speak to me for the rest of the afternoon, which was not my intention, but there it is. It is a chemistry problem, not a character one. Regular laundry soap is built to clean surface dirt. It floats past oils that have bonded deep into the fiber without touching them, which is why the yellow keeps coming back no matter how hot you run the wash. Here is what does reach it. Fill your sink with the hottest tap water you have. Add 1 cup of 3% peroxide and stir it through. Submerge the pillowcases fully and leave them for at least 30 minutes, an hour if the yellowing has been building for a while. Then wring them out and run them through your regular wash. For stubborn cases, mix peroxide with a small amount of dish soap into a paste and work it into the fabric before soaking. The dish soap brings degreasing power and the peroxide brings the deeper work, and together they go after the yellowing from both directions. White cotton only. Test a corner on anything colored first. I would rather tell you twice than have you ruin something you love. A few honest warnings. Now I need to be straight with you about the limits of this bottle, because I have spent this whole time telling you what it can do, and you deserve an honest picture of where it stops. Hydrogen peroxide at 3% is a cleaner, a disinfectant, and an oxidizer. It is not a miracle. There are things it will not do, and pretending otherwise would make me exactly the kind of person I set out not to be when I started telling people about the old ways. It will not kill all bacteria with one fast spray and a wipe. It needs time on the surface to do its work. If you spray and wipe immediately, you have done little more than dampen the surface. Let it sit. The time is the whole point. It will not fix a severe mold problem in a wall or a ceiling where the mold has gone deep into the structure. That is a job for professionals and for the kind of repair work that goes beyond a spray bottle. If your mold covers more than a rough 3 by 3 foot area, please do not let me be the voice that talked you out of calling someone who knows what they are doing. It will not mix safely with vinegar. I said this once, and I will say it again because I feel strongly about it. When you combine hydrogen peroxide and vinegar, you create peracetic acid, which sounds interesting in a chemistry classroom and is genuinely dangerous in your bathroom. It irritates your lungs, your eyes, your skin. Use one and then the other if you need both, but never in the same bottle and never at the same time on the same surface. It will not work as well if the bottle has been sitting open in a sunny spot for several months. The strength degrades. If you pour peroxide onto a surface and it does not fizz at all, even slightly, the bottle may have lost most of its strength, and it is time for a fresh one. $1 at the pharmacy. No reason to make do with a spent bottle. Store it somewhere cool and dark. Keep the cap on when you are not using it. Buy a new bottle every year or so, and you will always have the real thing available when you need it. And keep it away from your eyes. This is the one I say with the most seriousness. 3% peroxide is not going to do permanent damage if a drop hits your skin, but your eyes are another matter. Wear glasses or keep your face back when you are spraying overhead. That is not caution for its own sake. That is just sense. Here is something I think about sometimes, standing in my kitchen with that brown bottle in my hand. The women who kept house before us did not have a different product for every surface. They had a few plain things and a deep understanding of what those things did, and that understanding passed from one pair of hands to the next, my grandmother's hands, her mother's hands, all the way back to women whose names none of us know anymore. That passing stopped, not because anyone chose to end it. It stopped the way most forgetting happens, quietly and a little at a time, as the store shelves filled up with bottles that were cheaper to buy than knowledge was to carry. And so the knowledge got set down and left behind. The brown bottle never left the shelf. It is sitting there right now at any pharmacy within reach of you, costing about what it always cost, doing everything it always did. Nobody profits from you knowing that, and that more than anything else is why nobody is telling you. I am not calling it a conspiracy. My grandmother had no patience for that kind of thinking, and neither do I. It is simply what happens when profit decides what gets remembered. So go find that bottle, try one thing I showed you today, then come down to the comments and tell me how it went, and tell me your county and how old your house is. I read every single one, every word.